Hey everybody, thank you for joining us at our webcast today. We're going to talk about installing multiple packages in one deployment. If you got questions, as always, chat window's available, or you can use hashtag PDQDeploy on Twitter. And now we'll turn it over to Shane and Lex.
Hey everybody, I'm Lex. He's Shane.
I'm Shane. Hey guys. All right. We're going to talk about a couple of different features here to help you kind of group your deployments together.
Yeah, make them simple as possible.
So, yeah, I guess the first way actually is to do everything within a single deployment.
Yeah.
The single deployment feature is known as nested packages.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with the PDQ deploy different types of steps, that's just another step in there. In fact, we will.
In fact, if we want to make one, should we just build one?
Sure, we can do that.
So let's say.
There's a couple of ways to do it. So.
Yeah, there is. So we'll cover them all. So what I like to do when I have new machines come online, I like to have a baseline package that just, one deployment that has all the packages I want installed on new machines.
Okay.
So to do that, I would just go through and pick the packages I want here. So let's do 7-zip.
All right.
Adobe Reader, definitely.
Do you want to do the Adobe Reader, the full or the patch?
Oh, let's do the full, definitely.
Okay.
And then let's just throw in KeyPass just for good measure.
All right.
Now you'll notice over on the right-hand side there, it says create a new nested package. There you go.
All right. So now we have a kind of a container package or a master package that just has these 3 packages that are nested inside. When you deploy it, this still looks like it's one deployment, but it does call these 3 different packages. So that's a great way of doing it. So maybe you want to call this something like
Baseline usually.
baseline or new machines or something like that. Okay, baseline.
Now another thing that you can do in a nested package, you can also add a reboot step in between.
You can add any step.
That is true, you can. So
Yeah, remember this package that we're looking at, baseline in this case, is a regular software package. So you can do whatever you could install your own software in here. You can run whatever steps. So you're saying we could do a reboot. All right, so let's do this. We've added these 3. Now let's say, I want to add Java to it. So there's the button for nested package. Notice it adds it wherever I was selected. So to select the package, I'll just do this. You can use the filter in here if we want. There it is,
there's Java, yeah.
Now, if you want to change the sequence,
Arrow it up and down.
just move it the way you want. So you mentioned a reboot. There's the reboot button there. Let's go ahead and add one. And maybe we'll put a message to, system's going to reboot.
System's going to reboot to the new machine. Yeah. Or anybody you deploy this to actually at this point. So
we'll give him 60 seconds to do whatever. There we go. So
and again, you can position that anywhere you want in the package.
And so we're going to reboot after Java, and then maybe we want to do maybe we'll actually do a message. Do a message step right up here. Move that up. And display message. This is if, we'll just do this if if any user happens to be logged on to the target machine. Display message. So we'll just say like new software is going to be installed. We're not going to wait for the user to click OK. This is just a heads up. But we're going to change some conditions here to say the logged on state only run this step if a user is logged on.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to display a message if the user is not logged on.
And then just for, that's perfect actually.
Sound good? All right. That's a great example of how you can kind of just group your packages together to deploy them. Of course, if you wanted to reboot, if you wanted to add a new step after the reboot, you can also do that because maybe you want to install Java and then install something, 2 reboots, how's that? And then install something afterwards, such as...
LibreOffice.
Yeah, actually there's a new LibreOffice that just came out.
Yeah.
It's 4.4. But that's actually a good point. We're going to show them that. All right, so now you've got this. Perfect. We're going to save that. So once again, a new Libre package has a new LibreOffice has come out. 22 updated packages. Let's see if it shows up in here. It looks like you've got a filter there, Firefox.
What a great filter.
There you go. Yeah, there's the new Libre. It's 4.4. So while we're doing this, we're going to import. So you've got your package out here that's got a bunch of nests in there, and now a new version has come out. What do you do?
Need to replace it.
Correct. So while this is downloading, to do that, you'll just go back into your baseline. We'll show you how to do that once. Boy, we chose a
very large package to download. Yeah.
Cheers. So there's a couple of other ways that we're going to show you to kind of group your package together. Nested is the most popular when it comes to something that you're going to want to do a couple of times. Like Lex had mentioned, I want to have just a single deployment that hits new machines. Maybe you have your new machines going to an OU or something like that called new machines. You can just, you can just basically deploy this to those machines that are in that OU and get it done. All right, so now we've got a new LibreOffice. We're going to go to our baseline. There's the old one. We're just simply going to do a new nest. Or pardon me, I'm not going to do that, I'm sorry. We're going to come in here and select package on this. And we're just going to say LibreOffice 4.403. So now it's got it points to the new package, not the old one. There we go. There we go.
So Shane, another thing that I like to do is, with the browsers, having the flash update.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to take one of our, already existing packages and then just add a nested step there too. So
all right. So I guess we've got okay. So we'll do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
You want to add that after maybe a Firefox or something? Is
Yeah.
that, okay. I think we've got a question though.
Is there a maximum number of nested packages that can be included in one deployment?
From Jason. We haven't set a limit, so
Test it. Let us know.
yeah, fine. Tell you what, let us know. I've personally nested, I think 61 total, just for my personal edification. So there's not a limit that we have set, a hard limit. You might find some problems though, just so you know. Let's do a deployment actually for this baseline, just so you can kind of see how this will look. Let's choose. Let's just type in a name of a computer. You have one you want to try? How about Jerry?
Sounds good.
All right. So this is the computer for Jerry. The computer named Jerry, and we'll just hit deploy. Hopefully Jerry's online for this demonstration. So if you've deployed other software, you've seen the output steps. Okay, so no one was logged on there, so most likely it looks like it's just moving on. Anyway, so we can look at these steps. Now that we have nested packages, you're going to notice that it's not just step 3 or step 4. It's step 3, and if 3 is a nested package, then it's going to go point
Step
1,
point 2, point 3 for the steps in that package.
Correct. So we can click on that little link, and you can just see the output here. So there's 7-zip, and then 2.1 was, it skipped 7-zip 32 since it's not a 32-bit machine. I'm going to make this a little wider, JJ. Installed 7-zip. Now it's on step 3.1, 3.2. You can see how you'll be able to view the output for nested packages.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's actually kind of cool. And by the way, if you ever have to submit a ticket, you're at your wit's end, something's not installing right, I'm getting an error 1603 or something. If there's an output log for it, we'll have you send that to us. So if you're looking at the job, 7-zip output log, there's that. You can always save that and send it to us, just so you know. I hope that answers. I hope the previous question was answered for you, by the way, Jason.
Yeah.
And now we can just see, by the way, we do have this showing which packages are currently being installed, even if they're part of a nest, just to give you an idea of what's going on in your environment at a glance.
While that's installing, because that's going to take a while, we got LibreOffice in there.
Mm-hmm. And you are going to see a reboot take place here pretty soon as well.
True.
So we have another question. Go for it.
What's the best way to use this tool? For setting up a computer with programs you want, or for keeping it up to date, or both? That was by Charlotte. I would definitely say both.
Yeah. I think the use case that we're looking at now, Charlotte, was probably for new computers. As far as keeping them up to date, yes, you can. While you can do this, you notice you're going to have to kind of keep that nested package up to date.
Up to date, yeah.
That package with all the nests up to date. There's a couple of other ways, depending on what you want kept up to date. There's a feature called auto deployment that you can specify. You can specify which computers you want to have which software, and as that software, if it's in the package library, is available as it comes out, you can just have it automatically deployed. People do that with Java and Flash and some of the bigger ones. I just always want to make sure the latest version's out there. I don't want to have to think about it. We can walk through that if you want.
We also have videos on that too out on the web.
So now you can see we're doing the reboot. I'm going to click this really quick just so you know. We can see the output so far. It's installed pretty much everything successful. It's finished with Java, and now it's in the middle of the reboot. Once that computer comes back online, assuming that it does, it will then pick up with the next step, which I believe was LibreOffice.
Yep.
All right. So that's one way, the nested packages. Charlotte, if you want to look at keeping up to date, once again, you can do that by keeping your baseline package going and keep it up to date. If you want, there's another way of doing this. It's not using the nested packages, but it's using a schedule with multiple packages attached. So the way we're looking at right now, baseline with nested packages, we're looking at one deployment with just a bunch of packages in there. When you use a schedule with multiple packages, it just kicks those packages off in sequence. So you're not looking at one deployment, you're looking at however many packages, deployments for however many packages you have. But it's still, it's a way of setting it once. I'll give you an example. So we've got Adobe Reader, Java. Let's say we don't want to do this with a nest, but we want to do it with a schedule. I'm going to just choose one, 7-zip right now. And let's go to a new schedule. All right, we can call this one something like, well, something similar, baseline, new computers. Now, if you wanted to do this once, you can just schedule the type for once. But maybe you want to have this kicked off, every week.
Yeah.
For right now, we're just going to keep it at once. And we'll set this up to go in an hour. Oh, there we are. The targets. Maybe this is where you might link to an OU that contains the new computers or whatever.
The difference between choosing targets and linking to. Choosing targets, you go pick specific machines. A link to, you're generally going to pick a collection from the collection library, and as that collection changes, so does the link in the schedule.
So if you look at, I selected choose targets from Active Directory. And if I go to see Deadwood Computers, we have a new computers here. Perfect. There's 3 computers that are new. Now, I could say install to these 3, but what if a new computer goes in there? I want that computer to get deployed the next time the schedule runs. That's where you'd use a link to, because a link to, as Lex mentioned, you don't choose computers, you choose the source. Something like Active Directory again. And we're going to go to Deadwood Computers, new computers. And we'll say, okay, I think, yeah, there you go. Move Lex's chest so you can see that. And now you can see that every time this would kick off, it would grab whatever computers are in new computers. The options, we are going to stop deploying to computers once they succeed. I like that one in this case. And now we're going to say, okay, so we set this just for one package initially. That was 7-zip. You can see from 7-zip, you can go in there and modify the schedule, or you can go into all schedules. And
you can modify it from there, yeah.
Yep. So now here's what we're going to do. Go into packages, you see 7-zip, but I want to add some more packages. I'm going to attach additional packages to this schedule. And maybe we wanted the Adobe Reader and Java. You can even do multiple selections, and LibreOffice. Boom. You can see kind of how you can do the same thing that we were talking about earlier. Adobe Flash. Say OK. And now these are the packages that are attached to this schedule. And it's a similar thing. Now, you'll need this in Deploy version 5, the ability to order the packages, the sequence that you want. But just so you know. So if I want to say, no, I want to do Java, or I mean Adobe before Java, you just move that on up. Say OK. And now when you deploy,
Each of these will be individual deployments as opposed to the one nested package, but they will all go.
correct. So if I wanted to actually, instead of waiting for the schedule, if I just said start schedule now, you can see I can choose which package I want installed, or I can just say all attached packages.
Yep.
And it's going to choose those targets, which happen to be in the new computers. All right. We have another question, I believe.
Any plans on making a self-service portal for users to install approved packages?
And that's from Zergi or Zergi. Zergi. Thanks for the question. I think if I understand the question, you're talking about kind of a community-driven package library in a way? I mean, right now we have the package library where
You go select what you want,
Yeah.
download it, auto-deploy it.
but it's effectively it's me or Lex that are building those packages.
Yeah.
We test them here and then make them available. I think you're asking if there's going to be something for users to supply for other users. We don't have that plan right now.
Definitely something to think about, but
Yeah, if I'm misreading your question, please elucidate. And I apologize if I'm not understanding that. But you know what? Maybe he's asking this: a self-service portal where your users, and you think you might be talking about the end users, where they can say, "I want to install this, this, and this." No, we don't have plans for that.
yeah.
To do that would be doesn't mean we won't do it. We've discussed something like that. Don't you like how I'm just guessing at what question I have, and I'm just going to answer all of them?
Answer them all, yeah.
That's something that we have considered, but obviously there's quite a bit to the infrastructure that we're going to have to modify to do that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we won't, but it's that would be a fairly tall order as far as our current infrastructure. And keep in mind, in as much as one thing we get from our customers all the time are, "Oh, you guys are so inexpensive. Thank you so much, and thanks for not charging per seat. We love your licensing. It's so great. Now, can you make this look exactly like SCCM?"
Yeah.
Well, once again, it's significantly less.
There's a price point.
Yeah, there's a price point. Hey, we love this. Now, can you make it far more complex but not change the price?
Yeah.
All right, so that's how you can also hit this through. You know what? I'm going to come in here. I'm going to modify this. I'm going to change the targets. Just because I want to see this, kick off. Let's do putty. For example, I'm just going to hard code the computer putty in here, and I want to show you how this will work. Now I'm going to start the schedule on putty, and go back to scroll up, go to all deployments. So you can see now that before, when we had the baseline package, let's see where that is. The baseline package kicked off, just one deployment.
Mm-hmm.
But here with putty, we're seeing all these deployments. Where's our packages? I'm going to move the package over here so you can kind of see what that is. Yeah, so there's the baseline. That took 5 minutes, and that had 24 steps. But here, using the attached schedules, each package constitutes its own deployment.
Yep.
So just wanted to call that out. And you can see how that's working now. Do we have any other questions out there?
Well, let's do one more thing before we take another question. Let's just go and add Flash to our Firefox, just because, I always install
Okay.
Firefox. I want Flash to go with it.
Okay, so you've got Firefox, and you downloaded Firefox.
I
right?
did. And again, we take an already existing package and we add a nested step to it.
Okay, so here's the Firefox package that's from the package library, and you want to add Flash to this.
Yep. Flash plugin.
This we can do. So there's Adobe Flash, not the all IE, since the IE is for,
IE.
the IE is for Mozilla. Yeah, so now we'll deploy Firefox and then the latest Flash plugin to
That's
for
attached there.
Firefox. Perfect. I like that.
All right.
All right. We have another question. Go ahead.
When using a nested package, does the timeout counter reset after each step, or does it apply to the whole package?
Okay, that's a good question. When you kick off a nest, it's going to when you kick off when you have your package, and when you call another nested package, it's going to use the timeout for that nested package, and then when it calls another nested package, it's using the timeout for that. However, there's still a timeout for the main package that's also honored. So you can kind of step on your toes a little bit there. In this case, by default, the timeout is 60 minutes. It's 1 hour. That's 1 hour once the deployment begins on a target. So you could deploy to 200 machines, and then maybe you have it set to do 20 machines at a time. Those machines that haven't started yet, that 60 minutes doesn't kick off. It kicks off per machine only when the first step has finished copying the files. So if I'm deploying something like, maybe I'm doing a service pack, Windows 7 service pack or Office. Yeah, you might want for your main package, you might want to come over here to the timeout and use a custom timeout, and then increase that.
That will take
180 minutes.
1800 minutes. Yeah.
180 minutes. That's so there's the 3 hours, and then once again, each step that's kicked off, each nested package, it's going to use the timeout for that nested package.
Yep.
So if you have a nested package that has a longer timeout than your main package, than the baseline, that could ostensibly keep going, but the baseline would time out, and your
baseline would never finish. Yeah.
So it's a very good question, Jason. Thank you for calling it out. Lex and I both spaced mentioning that.
Yeah.
And we have a follow-up question. On plans for a self-service portal, a web service for my users to go. Okay, so it was the second option that I had mentioned. So hopefully you got that answer. Maybe you were busy furiously typing your follow-up while I gave that answer. The answer is we've thought about that. We haven't made any hardcore plans for it, but we have considered something like that. Obviously, in order to do that, that also lends to the fact that we have been discussing some type of a web portal as well, or a web interface. We couldn't do your request without having that anyway. So these are discussions that we're having, but there's nothing that's been decided.
Nothing concrete yet. Yeah.
Lex, do you have hey, you want to check? Let's see. By the way, I'm going to scroll up here. I want to look at the all deployments. So there's that baseline. So we did see that it finished, right?
Yep.
Took 5 minutes.
All 24 steps.
All 24 steps, and if we come in here, we'll look to see the reboot. Yep, the reboot was 2 minutes. Remember, we had a 60-second message that was displayed as part of the shutdown. I like that. I like that. Hopefully that answers some questions. All right, so coming soon to a theater near you. We have had this request, and we've been talking about it, and we've decided we're going to go ahead and do it. I'm probably going to have Sean drop kick me for mentioning, because watch you have to get pulled out. There are people that we've had customers say, "Hey, I understand the concept of nested packages, and awesome with the attached packages. I just want to be able to do a multi-select, something like this, and then just say deploy now and deploy these in sequence." Yeah, we've decided we're going to go ahead and look at that. See if we can't implement that. It won't be in version 6. I can tell you that right now.
Let's just call it a future release.
Future release. Tentatively, we're thinking of 7, but it could get pushed off, just so you know. Because we do have a lot of features in the pipeline, and we're furiously trying to implement those.
Yes.
So, but the on the fly, I don't want to do a nest, and I don't want to do a schedule. We are planning on doing that.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions?
Yeah, do we have any other questions out there? Otherwise, Lex and I just look at each other longingly.
Oh, we do have one. How do you decide on the best order of packages to be installed? Charlotte.
Coin toss?
One more time. How do you decide on the best order for the packages to be installed? I do like the coin toss method.
Charlotte, that's a good question. Now, it really comes down to a knowledge of what's going on. For example, LibreOffice, by the way, I'm going to move this 4.3 over to old packages, keep it somewhat tidy. LibreOffice, there are parts of this application that require Java. So you might want to have Java installed before LibreOffice. Now, LibreOffice can be installed without Java, and it's not going to fail. But there are certain features when you're using it that it does require it. So that might argue for Java being installed before LibreOffice.
Yeah. It really boils down to knowing what each of the install packages and programs need and use and how they use them. So.
Correct. And a lot of times, I think the sequence is not as important, but there are times when it's critical. For example, we have a customer who's built a very, very complex, and they shared it with us, AutoCAD package. We're talking this thing is full contact. AutoCAD has never been easy to deploy. He obviously he has prerequisites that he set in his packages to run, because AutoCAD requires .NET, and it requires certain Visual C runtimes. So the sequence is very important before he actually installed AutoCAD. He made sure that the steps that were needed before the Visual C runtime, the Visual C plus runtime, et cetera, those were done before. Otherwise, he would have gotten an error. So there are times when it's critical. It comes down to you kind of have to know the applications and their prerequisites.
Another thing I would add is it's also good to know when you need to reboot your machine.
Yes. I remember this is a while ago, but some people were installing some smart card drivers and software, and that actually required a reboot before they could apply certificates. So they would install it, then it had to reboot, then it came back online, and then they could apply some certificates. So Charlotte, it just kind of comes down to knowing your applications. For the most part, though, what I've seen is it's not as important.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're applying a patch to an application, maybe you're installing Office, and then you're going to apply some hot fixes for Office. In that case, sequence is very important.
Important. Yeah, test it before you launch it to everybody.
Yeah.
That's always a good one. So did we have another question? Are there any packages available in the package library that you would recommend we do not nest?
Boy, I wasn't expecting that
That's
one.
a good question.
Packages in the package library not to nest. Off the top of my head, I can't. Let's go look at the package library. Off the top of my head, I can. I'm not sure.
That's it.
I don't know.
Probably it wouldn't be a good idea to nest and this would be in sequence, like install Firefox and then uninstall Firefox. But really, it's kind of a hard one.
No, I can't think of one, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
If you find one, let us know. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be. Which also leads, if you have questions that, there are times you might want to submit a question beforehand if you know about it so that we can plan for it.
Yeah.
But I can't think of one right now, to be honest. By the way, we had mentioned keeping things up to date. We can quickly show you the auto deployment because it uses the attached packages in a schedule concept, but it keeps things up to date. So, by the way, let's say that you wanted to do, let's do Java 8.
Yeah.
Java 8, 64-bit. We'll do the 64-bit. Why? Because it's already selected. You can see that button right there. You select the packages. In this case, I'm just going to do one, add auto deployment. You can use an existing or add a new schedule. I'm going to create a new one. We'll just call this something like Java 8 64-bit. Sound good?
Pretty obvious, yeah.
Set this to do, we'll do this monthly, maybe. Days of the month, we'll do the last day of every month. Does that sound good? And the weeks of the month, we'll just say the last, obviously. All right, and then any of those days. Perfect. So the targets, link to PDQ inventory collection. We'll say any machine that has an older version
yeah.
Of the Java 8 64-bit. I did link to, right? There we go.
You did, yeah.
We'll go to the collection library. We have Java 8 64-bit, and machines that have an old version of 64-bit.
Yep.
Perfect. So we'll say OK. Yeah, stop deploying. So I'm going to say OK to this. And now I have an auto deployment. Notice that it's now downloading that little icon. This means that it's currently downloading this. Now, the way I currently have this set, after 7 days, I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. After 7 days after the latest Java 8 has come out, it's going to be auto-approved, meaning that it's going to be attached to this schedule and kick off on the next deployment. If a new version comes out and I want to approve it before the 7 days, you can do that. There's a button to say auto-approve. Or I can change this and say, you know what, I want this particular Java 8, the next version, I want that to be automatically approved in
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
Or in 2 hours, or immediately, whatever you feel comfortable with. Say OK.
That's there to give you time to test.
Yes. So I'm going to open up this auto deploy, and you're going to see in the packages, there's an auto deploy icon, which means that this is auto deployment. Java 8, update 64, update 31. So the next version that comes out, probably it's going to be update 40, I would guess. That's what the beta is right now. When update 40 gets approved, either in 3 days or when you manually approve it, it's going to be attached to this schedule. So you don't actually have to do anything.
Yep.
After 3 days, it'll be attached, and then the next time, in this case, the last day of the month or whatever your schedule is, the next schedule kickoff, it's going to update, it's going to deploy the latest version.
Yep.
All right?
And again, like the other schedule, you can attach more to those.
Yes, you can.
So there's multiples in there.
Correct. Correct.
Thought we had a last question.
One more question?
Is there a way to redeploy only the nested packages that failed?
Good question, Ryan. At this point, no. So what you might want to...
Yes, manually. Nothing automated, though.
Why are you here?
No, because I look good.
Why do I seek your counsel? Ryan, not with nested packages, but what the very thing you're asking about would be resolved using the schedule portion. So let's say you scheduled, instead of the nested packages, but you had multiple packages that were set to install, and 3 of them failed. Let's go back to our schedule here, because I'm going to show you this. The baseline new computers. So let's say that Java 8 failed and LibreOffice failed. Because we have our options here set to stop deploying to computers once they succeed, the next time this schedule runs, or when you were to say, start the schedule now, it would not kick off those packages that were successful.
So, yeah.
It would only kick off the unsuccessful ones. So the answer to your question is no, not with nests, but yes with the attached packages. All right?
Cool.
Rock on. All right, I think that's, unless there's something else, Annalisa, JJ? All right. Hey, I'm Shane.
And I'm Lex.
All right, thank you guys for joining, and thank you for all the great questions. If there are any questions you come up with later or that we missed, you can always go to adminarsenal.com and hit support, and we'll see you at the next webcast.
Yeah. See you guys later.
Bye.
Dude. Hurry, come here. Why don't you sit this hurry?